I sent out a tweet soon as our last game ended. Tong Fu looked scary good.
10 seconds.
They really did, man. I mean, it's same can be said for eHome. I mean, both these teams are really showing that they're preparing themselves for TI2. It's just, in general, I don't know, man. I used to think that maybe the Asian teams wouldn't have time to adapt, but I'm starting to think that's definitely not going to be the case because
No.
as we've been seeing the performances out of them so far today, I just really love the drafting style. It is a bit different. Their lanes are actually, I think, what are drastically different from what we would normally see out of North and South American teams and even European teams especially. So I'm really liking their play style. I think if teams aren't ready for this kind of style, it's going to completely catch them off guard and probably end up pretty poorly for them, I would say.
10 seconds.
Yeah, and speaking of things we don't always see, not the most common thing in the world to see a first ban windrunner. And, you know, in a lot of sometimes you could say, well, maybe that's a throwaway ban. That's obviously not the case. It's the second game in a row. MITH has banned windrunner out very early. She was banned out second in game number 1. And they just do not want to give windrunner to Tong Fu.
Don't blame him necessarily. I mean, Windrunner is still a very high-tier pick. It's just very skill-dependent. I mean, hitting your power shots and shackles, if you have a great Windrunner, that hero is one of the best heroes in the pool, period.
Yeah.
I mean, she just brings so much. She doesn't require too much farm either. That's another thing that makes her great. There are teams who obviously run her as some kind of semi-carry or just get her up the farm like Mech and Force Staff, Hex, you know, typical standard stuff. But she doesn't absolutely need it.
Yeah.
I really just, I don't know. I think it's a good ban, especially if you're worried about a great player who can take up the reins. So we'll see what the rest of the ban phase looks like. And I don't know, we could potentially see a Darkseer again. I hope, man. Fingers crossed. I just don't see it banned out yet because whenever we watch any other region of Dota, it's just instant first ban. Like, you don't even get a chance to hope for it.
Yeah, usually that's the case. Darkseer just valued so highly. And, you know, he's always been valued highly. You know, you had, up there he goes again, so no Darkseer this time around. Maybe we can hope for an Ogre Magi, if nothing else. But, you know, he's been valued highly all through the whole nerf and the Aghanims debate and should this, whatever. He's fixed now. He's pretty solid hero, goes without saying. But, I mean, yeah, like definitely now, even a month ago during Monthly Madness, number 1, actually it was more than a month ago, but throughout Monthly Madness 2 and in Monthly Madness number 1, you and I got a good look at him. We saw him played very frequently. Anytime he made it through the pool, even then, he was almost always picked up. And he just gives you so much stability in your team. If you need to turtle, it is almost impossible to push into a team with a Darkseer. If you want to go out and force team fights, all you need is one good wall and vacuum, and all of a sudden the team fight is horrendously in your favor at just about any stage of the game. So, Darkseer, very strong champ, or excuse me, hero, not going to be seen this time around.
Uh-oh, you might get flamed for that whole fiasco right there. Hopefully that's not the case.
Care.
I'll try to.
I work in all esports, man. I got to watch all games. Sometimes it slips through. Sometimes it happens. I don't care. I'm fine with it. Everybody knew what I meant. I'm Dota to the bone, son. Queen of Pain, the last ban out from Tong Fu, so not going to be seen this time around. And there goes Invoker. So Chin and Enchantress both survive once again, and Chaos Knight survives as well, and he's going to be played by Tong Fu.
Yeah, first pick Chaos Knight, no real surprise. I mean, he's still first pick. I want to say in Warcraft 3 Dota as well. The hero's just so ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what Myth is going to do in reaction to this because there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can kind of pick that AoE ridiculous team that we saw EG do where basically you get like a Death Prophet Tinker and just prevent the CK from ever being able to really engage into you just due to your massive AoE damage.
Yep.
And the thing that I really liked about that strategy too is 2 of those abilities went straight through BKB as well.
Yep.
So it's not even like you can just like, oh yeah, BKB, now I can go, and you really can't. So
Right.
And in Myth Trust case, I'm not sure if that's the route they're going to take. There are a couple of ways to handle CK, though. If you can shut down his early game, have a decent lane to put against him and make sure he doesn't get the early game farm,
Right.
then that's going to help tremendously. And I'm not sure how they're going to lane it, though. A lot of teams like doing the CK with the support mid, just guaranteeing that he will get that early game farm. And kind of just theory crafting at the moment because we're waiting to see what MITH is going to go ahead and take here. I would imagine they're going to want to try to get Chen. I mean, letting Chen go and a CK at the same time, that's a lot of push potential and gang potential to boot if they do end up putting him in an off lane.
Yeah, Leshrack's still in the pool as well. I think a Leshrack Chin pickup. We got a pretty good look at, I mean, again, Chin, I'm with you 100%. We saw him come out fairly late last time, but he's just too good of a hero to risk giving away, especially when you already have one really, really hard to deal with hero in Chaos Knight. He pops Phantasm. The push comes out mighty quick. And MITH Trust down to 30 seconds on their bonus time. Definitely talking it over, trying to figure out which direction they want to go. But in both cases, in Chen and Leshrac, just two heroes that have a lot of versatility. Chen obviously locked down so far as how he's going to be played early. But just so, oh wow, Rubik first pick, then Leshrac. So they are going to let Chen go for the moment. But yeah, I mean, Leshrac's just too versatile. You can't let him go.
Totally agree. I think that Rubik's always going to be a strong pick too. MITH Trust definitely sees his strength here. How funny would it be, by the way, to see a CK actually get his Phantasm stolen by Rubik, and then you just have a bunch of Rubiks walking around? I mean, it's not going to be as effective because the base stats just aren't there to make the illusions the threat that they would be on a CK.
Right.
Because basically it's on your strength, not anything else. So we'll see how that's going to work out. But he can still steal Chaos Bolt, Reality Rift, stuff like that, and just add to his tremendous amount of burst damage. And that's what right now Tongfu's going to have to be worrying about too. And I like the fact that they got Rubik so early, because typically when you pick CK, he's basically your physical damage, right? And then you have a couple of supports who are going to add some kind of magic damage, and there's Shadow Demon and Venomancer, so there's two heroes in there already who can add to that.
Right.
But against a Rubik, I mean, No Field is really a strong ability. I think people really undervalue how good that actually is against lineups that rely on any kind of AoE damage, and Venomancer is one of those heroes who does that, and especially because it's not like a burst, it's like an overtime.
Right.
It's just going to feel that much less effective. Like, we saw the difference between a Sand King Epi up against a Rubik and not many times. And speaking of Sand King, we are going to see him taken here.
Yep, Sand King picked up to say, hey, we got a Rubik, you don't. We will happily take the King of the Dunes. And with the Venomancer Shadow Demon picked up, I mean, they're still wide open in how they can do this. That does kind of make me think we're going to see a duo mid approach out of Tongfu. And I would really like to see Veno go mid with a CK. I think that would just be so lethal, especially in the early levels. I mean, it really gives you the potential, especially if anyone from the rest of the team comes out, and Chen obviously has the potential for that if they decide to pick him up, and if he survives the ban phase, I should say. But yeah, Tongfu again. I mean, and not to say MITH Trust is in bad shape. They got Leshrac and Rubik, as well as Sand King, so they're not outpicked by any stretch. But Tongfu, I think, has a very solid foundation that's going to allow them to react to MITH Trust, or depending on how hardcore they are on their game plan. They can fit a lot of heroes into this lineup right now and make it work damn well.
Well, both teams, I think, are kind of in the same shoes in that regard. I mean, you can have basically any picks from now on from MITH Trust, and they would probably be okay. I think that Tongfu, like you said, is slightly more open-ended because of the fact they do have two dedicated supports already. I'm thinking if they're going to dual lane mid at all, it's probably going to be Shadow Demon CK, because let's say, for instance, that MITH Trust anticipates that dual lane mid and they want to put the double stun against it. Having the Venomancer there wouldn't really help that lane at all. In fact, that lane would pretty much just straight up lose to a double stun, because Venomancer can be targeted quite easily. He would have to play super passive, which means that if your support's playing passive, then you in turn also have to play passive, because you're a melee hero and you can't really get up to the creep wave to freely CS. But with a Shadow Demon, the CK can just pretty much get disrupted out of any trouble that he would be in. So I think it's going to be up to Tongfu to decide if they want to take that route and dual lane mid. It is a possibility, but at this stage we're going to have to kind of wait to see what extra picks they're going to do to see what their lanes are going to look like.
Chen is going to be banned out, so we will not be seeing him around. Enchantress is still in the pool if they decide to go with her, but she's just really fallen by the wayside. It really wasn't long ago that we were seeing Enchantress being picked up first, even ahead of, well, I won't say ahead of Chen's, but usually it went something like this: ban, 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 Chen ban. Then if she made it through, she was going to be first picked in a lot of circumstances. And so she's still around. We'll see if either team opts to head that way. Druid's still in the pool. We've seen him very highly valued by a lot of teams coming out of the Asian scene. Puck actually going to be banned out by Tongfu. And yeah, it's one of those moments when you wish you were, well, one, you spoke the language in our case, but aside from that, you wish you were on the Skype or TeamSpeak or what have you call, just to hear the words and the thoughts that led up to that ban.
Well, I think the reason I got rid of Puck here, and if you look at the two AoE damage heroes in Sand King and Leshrac, it actually makes quite a bit of sense, because typically when you're playing against a Puck, I mean, his ability to initiate from super long range and basically just catch you off guard is what Tongfu is worried about. They have heroes like Venomancer and Shadow Demon who are very susceptible to being ganked, and if you have that crazy initiation range with the follow-up of Rubik, Leshrac, Sand King, that's 3 stuns, 3 very heavy nukes, actually 4 if you want to count Leshrac, and some extra added damage from the Pulse Nova. I mean, it's just a very, very scary thing to think about, so they probably just want to get rid of it so they don't have to worry about themselves being in a position where MITH Trust can basically just say, okay, well, we're going to get a blink on our Puck and initiate from anywhere we want, take fights on our terms, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
Makes a lot of sense. Draskell dropping knowledge bombs as always. Night Stalker, the final ban out of Myth Trust. And we'll see what Tong Fu wants to throw at us. And always, almost always, fourth pick really kind of solidifies your lineup. Going to go with the Brewmaster. So what I think, yeah, with that Brewmaster pickup, I'm going to say it's almost definitely going to be a 2-2-1 sort of a look.
It's a possibility. I think you're probably right because of the fact that having Brewmaster, like, you don't want to put him in a tri-lane or anything like that. Dual lane's okay. Typically, he wants to be solo. Wow, this is the first time I've seen Mirana in a very, very long time. And that really makes me think just a traditional tri-lane with Mirana. I mean, you could do Rubik, you could do 2-2-1 as well with the Sand King Mirana. There's a lot of lane options right now coming out from Myth Trust. The same can be said for Tong Fu, although I have a feeling that the Venomancer is probably going to be the one partnering with the Brewmaster, and we're still going to see a CK Shadow Demon. And if that is the case, we're going to be seeing a long laner for our last pick here out of Tong Fu. And I mean, there's still heroes like Tide in the pool who can take up that role, but I don't think Asian teams do that. I think that's pretty much just a European/American thing, but we'll have to see what they want to go with.
Yeah, with the Brew pickup, I agree. I think Veno fits in the lane much better with Brew. And I believe you were right initially. Shadow Demon CK, the highest probability to head mid. Myth Trust still, I mean, again, just the heroes they have, as you pointed out. You could solo mid Rubik, you could solo mid Leshrac, you could send a duo mid with Sand King, and they're just going to go ahead and add on another bounty hunter. And that's got to be a scary pick if you're Myth Trust right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going, oh, okay, we know what you're doing now. You just want to pretty much just skirmish and fight like you did last game, which worked to great success, don't get me wrong. And the other thing, too, again, is Tong Fu's lineup is kind of similar to eHome's that we saw, I believe, in Game 1, where eHome had a great team to pick up kills, but they also had a pretty good team to follow up with push. You have Venomancer wards, you have CK with Phantasm, you have Brewmaster who can use his ultimate as well, use the aspects to take down towers quite fast, and also, I mean, obviously that's a great team fight ability in itself. You can take somebody out of the fight for, like, I don't know, a year with the air aspect because of the Cyclone. I mean, it's just a really, really strong all-around hero. I think that Tong Fu's picks are quite good. I'm not sure how the Mirana is going to work out here, though. I mean, Mirana is a great semi-carry. We saw her a lot the last couple of weeks, and then she just kind of completely disappeared as Lone Druid, actually going to round out Myth lineup, so a little bit strange.
Yep, you and I both fighting back the yawns. Heard that half yawn. I've been doing that pretty much all morning as well. We got Up with the Chickens and the Cows to bring you this Monthly Madness Asia action. We're rolling past noon my time, making it 9 a.m. on the West Coast. So much love to our North American viewers joining us for some very early Dota 2 action. Not just that, but of course our European and Asian viewers. We got a lot. Oops, that is the wrong scene. That's what I want. There we go. Uh-oh. I'm not sure. Looks like we're gonna have to remake the game, and that's not too
one of
cool.
their players has to leave. They're subbing somebody out, I think.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and take our exit there. It does kind of muck things up so far as the in-game Dota goes. So actually, I don't know why I'm even mentioning that now, because if you were listening on in-game Dota, you're not going to hear me right now. You're just going to wonder what the hell happened. But we'll get the game up and running just as quickly as we can. While we do have a moment, though, I want to thank the sponsors, the folks who have helped make this a reality. NOS Energy Drink, Own 3D TV, Max Integration, Team Razor, and of course, itsgosu.com. You can find information about this event and a ton of other events for a ton of other games as well over at itsgosu.com. Keep up with our StarCraft 2 squad and find out what's going on in the world of esports. So head to itsgosu.com, especially if you're looking for a Dota 2 key. Worth mentioning, if you're one of those unfortunate souls who is keeping up with Pro Dota, can't wait for the game to go 100% live, but you've yet to track down a Dota 2 key, all you have to do is install Raid Call. And we're giving away Dota 2 keys during all broadcasts for Monthly Madness Asia. And all broadcasts, by the way, are on Saturday and Sundays. So got another broadcast that's going to be 2 more best of 3s kicking off tomorrow. Then we're going to have another weekend following that. I got to look at the exact schedule. I think we have 3 more weekends total until we wind up Monthly Madness Asia. But yeah, we hope to have each and every one of you back for all future broadcasts. So hit follow. Make sure you follow us here on Own 3D TV. And you can follow us on Twitter as well. I'm at AC. That's at AYESEE. And Draskell, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Draskell as well. By the way, take a broadcaster slot, buddy, before the game starts.
I think I can do that. You're not the boss of me. Don't tell me what to do. Gee, God.
Just making sure, man.
Oh, bossy. Looks like we are ready, though. Molly and you both keeping me in line. I'm trying to do the sponsor thing. Thank the sponsors. Yada yada. No, gotta have two people telling me take a broadcast slot so we can start the game. We have Dota to play. Stop talking about money. But that's okay. Again, sorry for the delay, folks. Looks like we are all lined out though. MITH Trust. We'll be playing with a stand-in, and it's Uno Who, whoever that is. I'm gonna guess it's just another member of the team. And I saw a comment, by the way, in the chat. I almost never respond to comments in chat on stream. I just don't think it's good policy. But this one in particular, I'm going to go ahead and say, someone said, it seems like these guys don't know all that much about Asian Dota. We kind of don't. We know a little bit, but this is what makes this fun for us. This is what made Draskell and I so excited. We are learning a lot throughout all this, and hopefully, as we learn, you guys drop knowledge bombs on us. We're happy to take them, be it Twitter, be it just any kind of feedback at all, because we're loving being here with you guys and loving being a part of the Asian scene. We're looking forward to working with these teams a lot more in the future. So I'm going to guess, yeah, it's set to all pick. So we should blow through this pretty darn quickly. And I'm not even going to take it off the main screen, but... yeah, I can't remember who we have tomorrow, Draskell. I can look it up real quick unless you know right off the top of your head. In fact...
I do not know off the top of my head.
Yeah, tomorrow... okay, I got it. Tomorrow will be... you can hear him in the background again. I'm just not going to bring that up.